This episode is brought to you by Shopify. Selling a little or a lot? Do your thing however you cha-ching with Shopify, the global commerce platform that helps you sell at every stage of your business. Shopify helps you turn browsers into buyers with the internet's best converting checkout. 36% better on average compared to other leading commerce platforms. Get a $1 per month trial period at shopify.com/offer23.
Bienvenidas al podcast Dos Bold Latinas. Aquí están sus hosts, Jatna Abreu
y Josibel Madera Vialets, dos latinas feministas born in Santo Domingo y en New York.
Passionate about Latina empowerment, Spanglish,
learning, growth, and so much more.
Hola mujeres, en el episodio de hoy, we will be having a conversation with Pamela Soto Rojas, a Latina in Grand Rapids who decided to embark a journey of being an entrepreneur and open her own business. So today we will learn all about her backstory and how and why she decided to become her own jefa. But before we get started, let me explain lo que es una emprendedora or an entrepreneur. And the internet defines entrepreneur as an individual who creates and operates a new business, taking on greater than normal financial risks in order to do so. Ahora, imagínense qué otros riesgos incluiría abrir un negocio como una mujer latina. So, con esa información, let's welcome Pamela. Hola, Pamela. Thank you so much for taking the time to join us.
Buenos días.
Yes. And, you know, we just want to be open here and just discuss a little bit about you and your journey as an entrepreneur y cómo decidiste tomar este paso en tu vida. So,
all right.
With that, you know, the first question we always ask is, you know, just tell us a little bit, you know, more about yourself, like your family, if you went to school, your background, like your culture, like all about that. Let us know a little bit about yourself.
Okay. I'm sorry, you might hear my dogs barking in the background, but yeah, so I am from Puerto Rico. My parents and my family, we moved here to Grand Rapids when I was 7 years old. So I've grown up here in the city of Grand Rapids, and I love where I live. I went to Davenport University for a couple of years, and I am happily married with an amazing husband and two beautiful kids. And yeah, that's my story.
Awesome. Thank you, Pamela. And welcome. And I got to say welcome at the beginning.
Hi.
And that's cool. I did not know that about you. You went to Davenport. I also went to Davenport.
Yeah.
I had seen your husband there, but no te había visto a ti. That's awesome.
Yeah,
so
he graduated from Davenport. So, yep.
Cool. So we're all Panthers. Well, I love this question. You know me, the little entrepreneur background a little bit here too. So our understanding is that you have your own business. So what is it? And is it that is that something you always done? Tell us a little bit about your story. How did you end up with your business?
Yeah, so it's something that I definitely did not always do. I've always worked since I was a teenager. So basically I just kind of hustled and did what I needed to do. You know, with a Hispanic family, we always have to help out and that sort of thing. So I've always kind of had a job and did that. And I went to school trying to pursue business administration at Davenport because I thought that was the right path. You know, I needed something in the corporate world. And so I did that. I went to school. I worked 2 jobs at times. And I ended up at Amway as a second shift in customer service. And it was supposed to be just a summer job. But I ended up loving it, and I stayed. I stayed there for about 12 years, and I think I stayed because it worked for me at the time. It was, like I said, very secure, and I had stability with it, and I liked it overall. So I just kind of stayed there. But it wasn't what I always wanted to do. It was just more that it was safe. It was comfortable. So after that, I worked there for so long, 12 years. And it kind of became like, okay, I really don't like what I'm doing anymore. It's not fun. It went from being a happy job to kind of like more of a stressful role as I moved around the company. And I just kind of realized it wasn't for me, but I stayed because, I have 2 kids. I have to have that stability. I can't just quit and start all over. You know what I mean? So I just kind of stayed there, and it just got really redundant. It was kind of like being on a hamster wheel, doing the same thing over and over. And I felt stuck. So no, it's not what I always did, but I did always like beauty and makeup and skincare and all of those things, but I never had the time to go to school for cosmetology. And I hate hair. I can't do hair. My hair is always straight, it's always down. I don't have a love for hair. So that's what there was a cosmetology license. So I never wanted to do makeup or anything like that because I didn't want to force myself to go through all this schooling just to be able to do one thing. I don't know if that makes sense to you, but it's like it's focused more on hair when you go to school. So I just never pursued it. So I did it on the side. Like I would do makeup. I learned how to do my own makeup, and I learned a lot about skincare. And so I would do that on myself and on my friends and things like that. And then eventually I found an opportunity to become an esthetician. That came about maybe just in recent years. There wasn't such a thing back then. And basically an esthetician just focuses on skin. And so with that, I was able to go to school for that. And then it only took a fraction of the time, and it focused more on what I needed. So that's how I ended up switching. Let me go back to your question here because I think I'm forgetting what it was.
No, you're on the right track. You're telling us, what's your story? We understand you have a business and like, have you always had it? And now you're going to get to the point of what is your business? And you're almost there.
Okay. So yeah, so it became just a very redundant job. And again, I love the company that I worked for. The job was just not for me. And it was starting to show. I was getting very tired of it. Like, when you just feel like you're stuck in a hamster wheel, that's kind of how it felt. And yeah, one day I told my husband, like, I can't do this anymore. It was not just the job itself, but life was taking a toll. I was very stressed out. And I think the correct word is burned out, because I was a working mom working in a corporate setting, which is very competitive in itself. You have to do your job and network and do all this stuff. And then you have to be the mom as well. So you have to excel in both. And it's very consuming. It's your energy it's split, and you're trying to be 100% in 2 places. And I definitely felt that burnout. And I just couldn't do it anymore. I became sick. I became anxious. It just kind of took over. And once I started getting sick with just anxiety, I realized that it was time to make a change. And so that's when I decided to leave that job and stay home. And then that's when the opportunity came up to pursue my own business.
So you mentioned that, I'm glad that you brought like all that stuff off, Pamela, because when you have kids, and you're married, like, and also work, like, it's just very difficult to have to, like, it's like a competition. You're trying to like give 100% in all these areas that, because Rosie and I know this because that's what we do. Like, we work for a corporate, organization, same organization. So we feel it, and we know how that feels like. So I'm glad that you're bringing up the fact that, it's hard. And then you one day woke up and said, you know what, I can't do this anymore. And like, it's affecting my mental health and like me physically, right? Like like your health physically as well. So making that decision, I can't imagine how much like courage it took you, for you to say like, I'm going to stay home. And then like, the opportunity came up and then you're like, you know what, now I'm just going to, build my own business and,
Right. It was very hard because like I said, I was in a great company. And it brought me a lot of security and it brought me a lot of success for a very long time. And having kids, you want that stability and you want that security. So it took me I think I passed that deadline of deciding when I should quit. So because it was so scary, it was a scary move. I felt like, it was so life-changing. And I was afraid that I was going to make the wrong choice. So it took me a long time. And it wasn't until it started to truly affect my mental health to where it affected me at work. I started to have episodes at work. And one day I was at the doctor's office and I realized, you know what? I don't need to be on medications. I need a lifestyle change. And that's when I just decided. I went to my boss and we talked it out and he cried with me and, and I just decided to take the leap and leave. So it was not easy, but it was very, very scary. And at the same time, though, it was what I needed to do. It wasn't a want. It was exactly what I needed to do for me and for my family. So.
Yeah, that's super brave. And so the next question I think ties into, perfectly to what you were talking about. But like once you decided to, you're like, you know what, this is it. I have to change my lifestyle and I have to do something different about it. And, then the opportunity came out for you to, go back to school and then like do what you actually love doing. So then you said like, I'm going to build a business out of this, right? So what challenges did you have to actually overcome at the beginning of your journey to build that business, right? 'Cause like you have a lot of other priorities in your life. And so deciding to do that, like it takes a big, it's a big step in your life. So like, what were some of the challenges in you thinking like, okay, like, how am I going to do this? Like, I want to do this, but like, how am I going to do it?
Right. So I think that the challenges that I faced there were also your personal challenges with yourself, having the confidence to feel like, okay, yeah, I can do this. So I will be honest, that was hard for me, was to have that confidence in myself to say, yeah, I can totally open up a business and do this, because of all the what ifs and just having that confidence in myself. It was a little bit of a challenge at first. I think another challenge is just not knowing. So finding the right information and the right people to talk to. That was probably the toughest part for me. But I think I was very lucky in that I was already at home. So I didn't have to worry about certain things before I started the business, like the finances, because we had already prepared for that when I quit my job. So I didn't have that worry, like, oh my gosh, how am I going to do this right now? I don't know if my answer is making sense.
No, it does. It does. And
I need to think about this one a second, like the challenges. Okay.
And I mean, that's good to know, right? Like there's that financial, which like our next question is pretty much that, about the financial portion of it. But it sounds like like you and your husband had already talked about it. And for I guess like you had already made up your mind, even when before you created the business, like you actually thought about doing building your own business. So I guess like, yes, it is a challenge, but at least like you prepared for that with your husband. And so like from there, that's when like you started to think about like, okay, now how can I do this, take this other step?
Right. So I think, because I was prepared to be home, it was a little bit easier in that sense. So I think if you're working and you're wanting to prepare to open your own business and kind of make that leap, The challenge would be time, having the time to put into this new business. So it's a lot of sacrifice that goes into it, because you're having to juggle two things. So I think that would be the biggest challenge, is the time. And like you said, also figuring out the financial aspect. How am I going to open up this business? Where is the money going to come from? And that's kind of where we were at too. So with that, it was, we knew for a while that I was feeling ill, that I wanted to leave this job, because of it just wasn't matching my lifestyle anymore. It was too time consuming and I needed a change. So with that, we had already planned. And I think one of the big things that we did was, in the beginning, was, okay, what do we need to do to set ourselves up so that you can stay home and, my husband can then take over without him being stressed out with only one income in the house. So we kind of started off, and I think this was like a good 2 years before I officially quit. So we started with, okay, what are the wants and what are the needs that we have, and to know the difference between the two. So we went through, like, your expenses and that sort of thing, and what's a want and what's a need, really. So I think knowing the difference between that was what helped us to kind of cut down and prepare to save and to change up some of our lifestyles, because counting on one income, it changes a lot. You don't have that extra money coming in, or that additional money coming in to cover certain things. So I think defining a want and a need and starting to cut down and adjusting, and of course, having good credit. So we've always focused on that, and just making sure our credit was always good. We paid off, like the cars, those things that aren't gonna, aren't really a necessity. Like, you don't need to have a new car, a fancy car. You need one that works, right? But you don't need a brand new car. So I think just defining those differences and learning, okay, how do I save? How do I pay off what I need to pay off so that I can stay home and I can make these other decisions. So I think once we got to that, and we took care of everything to where he felt comfortable holding it down, by himself, and not being stressed, because I didn't want to put that stress on him. So we definitely worked together and just cut down a lot and managed it so that he could provide. And then we saved some money. And I think that's the hardest part of being able to open up your own business, is just figuring out the finances, because you have a lot going on, especially if you're working and, we have to provide for our family. We have to help our other family out and, make sure our moms are good and, that sort of thing. So, at least in my culture, that's how it is. Like, you got to look out for other people. It's not just about you guys. So, to me, takeaway is knowing your wants and your needs and preparing financially for it. It's not going to happen overnight. It takes time and it takes planning, but if you stick with it, you can get there. You can clear up a lot, and you can adjust those finances to where you can take that leap to the next step.
Excellent. I loved it. I'm over here taking notes because if anyone knows me, I'm always like, I want to be an entrepreneur, but I don't know in what. So and that's definitely is going to be, if I ever become one, my story of feeling so comfortable, the lifestyle we get to have with two incomes. And, and the thing is that if we look back then, that's how it was, for usually the moms would stay home and the men were out there.
Yeah,
just
for sure. That's how it was in my house too. My mom was, she worked, but then for a long time she was home. It wasn't until we got older, I would say probably in my teens, that she felt comfortable taking on a job. But here, I saw women like me who worked and had kids, and they would do the daycare thing, and I thought, okay, yeah, I can totally do that. They do it. I can do it too. So when I had my son, I'm like, yeah, I can do this. And then I just realized, like, everyone's different. And I thought it was going to work for me, but it didn't. I didn't love it. It was hard because my kids, they're everybody parents differently, and everyone's happy in different ways. So for me, I thought that was going to work, the working mom and that sort of thing. But it wasn't for me. I wanted to have more freedom to do what I needed to do. And while I worked, I was also attending all of my kids' events, like everything, the little parties and all of that. I would attend everything. And so it really burned me out because I was giving my all at work, but then I was also giving my all at, I wasn't sacrificing, anything like, oh, there's a party at school, but I can't make that. I'll make the next party. No, I would go to the party, like, I'm like, no, I got to be there. And so I think I realized very quickly that I couldn't do both, and that this working mom life was not for me, at least not full time, So it took me a second, but once I had my kids, I realized pretty quickly, yeah, this is hard.
Yes. And when I said like how it was back in the day, like women have always made an income somehow. And the thing is that now, it's more like, oh, I'm an entrepreneur, but we see back then they made stuff at home to sell. So it's like us as women, we've always been looking a way. We've always had a way to bring income into the home. So I know you did go into, preparing financially to become an entrepreneur, but as a Latina or as a woman, did you find any resources to prepare to become an entrepreneur? Like, was there anything you want to add to that kind of helped you, that as you spoke to people out there in your field, that helped you to become more financially prepared?
And actually, I haven't answered what I actually do and what my business is. So my business is it's in the beauty industry, obviously. And I do lashes. So I'm a lash artist and I do eyebrows. So I received my license as an esthetician from Douglas J. Aveda. And so that's what I do. I do lash extensions and brows. I just wanted to say that because I realized I never said what I actually did. And what was the question again?
No, that's good. I was thinking like maybe she's gonna say it like, oh, and this is what I am, this is my business.
No, I just I got so into what I was talking about, I didn't even say what I did.
Me too. And guys, I mean, John and I both get services from Pamela, so it's also like easy to miss like, oh, this is what she does. No, I mean, just if you wanted to add anything that, you came across, like once you started your lash business or you said, hey, I'm going to start my lash business, is there anything else that you did to prepare to actually open your lash business? You started saving because you said I'm going to be a stay-at-home mom, but then after that, you decided, hey, I'm going to open up my own studio. You were inspired to do this and you got all this support from friends to do it. Like, hey, I believe in you. You could do it. So like is there any way that you started financially preparing for that? Because that's different. Like, okay, I'm going to stay at home, but now I'm going to start my business and that takes money. So what did you do to like financially get prepared to that, to open up your own lash business?
So with that, it was kind of scary to think I'm going to be responsible for my own space, like now everything is mine, like all the bills, everything is going to be mine. So, I don't know. I think for me, what was challenging was that just kind of figuring out like how I'm going to actually be a boss, like, and own my own business and be responsible for all this stuff. So, I think I'm trying to remember. It was quite the process. I didn't open up my own studio right away. It took me about a year. So I just pretty much researched, and I had a great mentor. She is a good friend of mine, and she actually we started out as I was her client, and she did my lashes. And from there, we became friends. And so she knew a little bit about what I liked and that sort of thing. And she one day she's like, hey, you can totally lash. Like, you need to go to school for this. And I'm like, no way, it's too hard. Like, I can't. I'm already working full time. I'm not going to add school to the mix. I have 2 kids to worry about. But she kept encouraging me and telling me about it. And once she found out I was quitting Amway, I went to my lash appointment, and she had actually switched her suite, because a lot of lash artists don't work at just a beauty salon. We have been able to open up our own business by ourselves and have, a small suite in a business building or something like that, because we don't need a lot of space. And that's what she did. She actually ended up moving from a salon to her own suite. And so when I was, going to her, she actually moved to a bigger suite. And I walk in and I'm like, oh, why did we move? And I look over and there's an extra bed in the room. And she's like, that's your bed. You're going to start lashing. And so basically I was so grateful and so encouraged by her and to pursue this. And she really gave me that boost, to say, I can do this. And she thinks I can do it. And she's great at this. And she feels that I can do it. She believes in me. So that's when I'm like, all right. And I jumped into this journey of going to school and pursuing this, career. And I think after that, it was more of, okay, what do I need to open up my own business? Well, in this case, I don't need a big building. I don't need, a lot of space. I need a suite. So I was doing a lot of research and finding out what my specific career as a lash artist required, what the space required, and that sort of thing. And then to prepare financially, it took time. This was in 2019, and I didn't open up my own business until 2020. It was 2021. So it was this year that I opened up my own business. So 2019 to 2021, that's 2 years that I spent just kind of planning what I needed to do, what I needed to get. And I had a mentor, and she was great at kind of teaching me the ways and showing me where I needed to go and what resources I needed. And a business loan is a great thing to have. So I did look into that, and it worked for me to obtain a business loan. And again, this goes back to planning and making sure that you have all your ducks in a row, right? Finances and your wants and your needs. And so finally, when I did all my research and I said, okay, I need to get lash beds. I need to get products. I need to get, business cards and all these things that take into opening up this space, right? So after I leased my suite, I got the loan. And I'm sorry. I got the loan first approved. And once I got the loan, I knew exactly how much money I needed. So I made sure I got the loan to meet that. So I didn't have anything going over or anything under. So once I got that loan and I prepared for that, I got my suite. And it took a lot of time to get the suite. It takes time. It's hard. It's not easy to come across exactly what you need, but you need to have patience, because you can easily run into something that's going to be beautiful and great and grand, but it's going to be over your budget. So if you're really trying to make money, and not get yourself into further debt, you have to start out small. And because I did see a lot of beautiful suites, and I'm like, yes, this is it. This is perfect. I can make this work. And then I'd go home and talk it over with my husband, and I'm like, yeah, that's going to be too much. And the whole point of me quitting the corporate world was so that I would have more time. So I definitely didn't want to get into something that was going to take up so much of my time, because I had to make money now to pay this stuff off, So I was definitely on the lookout for anything that was cause, a stress for me, or looking out for those stress factors. And so I took a lot of planning with that. So looking out for those stress factors, I really brought it down to, okay, this small suite in this business building will work for me because I can definitely afford this rent. I can pay this by myself. I don't need to have another person here to help me pay. This is something I can handle by myself. And so that's how I managed to figure out like what type of suite I wanted to get into. And again, I think I'm rambling, but I think it was just taking my time, being specific and being intentional about what I needed to do with the loan and using it specifically for that and figuring out how I was going to pay that back with my own business. So I think being strategic, intentional, and just confident in what you're doing and being realistic is another thing. Because like I said, it was really easy for me to find these really beautiful places that I could open up my business in. But was it really truly what I needed? And long term, was I going to be struggling to run my business now because it is so much more space and so much more money? And that's kind of what I was always on alert for. Definitely did not want to add more stress to my life because I had just gotten rid of a lot.
Yes, I love that. You're like, I'm rambling on. No, that last part to me, that's key. It's like, yeah, you could tell us, oh, I got a loan and this and that, but that is key because we do get caught up in the shiny thing, and now we got to be perfect because we got to prove our value and our worth, and at the beginning. And no, we don't have to do all of that because it is like you said. I'm not going to trigger a stress factor for the reason I left the corporate life to be in it again. So
Right.
It makes no sense. So that was key. That's powerful. To anyone that's listening, I'm sure they're being inspired with you right now. It's that, like, have patience with yourself, and like you said, be specific and intentional about what you're doing. And the thing is being patient. Like, we always want everything right there and then in the palm of our hands, but it does. When we say it's hard, that's the thing. It's being patient because we're used to this getting everything, and then we see that other people get it fast, and then we really don't know what they went through. Like, I would never imagine everything that you just went through, and that is what makes it hard. So thank you so much for sharing that.
Yeah, and I think the important thing is to have patience with the process and with yourself, and find those people that are going to be a mentor and are going to encourage you to do the right things, and that truly have your best interest. Like I said, I'm very blessed to have people in my life that are encouraging and want me to do well and believe in me more than I believe in myself. Because to be completely honest, I didn't think I could do this because I don't know, it just seems so far for me to say, oh yeah, I can do this. I think it's just because we're so, as Latinas, as a moms, we got to work. We got to make this happen here and now, and to think that I could do this, I don't think I would have done this if it weren't because of the encouragement of people. And that's when I realized I lack a lot of confidence. People see things in me and I don't see that. And I think as women, we need to not be so hard on ourselves and be more confident in our strengths and go for it. So I think with the finances, like I said, it's just a matter of preparing for it, having patience. This took me 2 years to get to opening my own space up, and really knowing what your business or what you want to do, understanding what your business will require, and adding that, do I want or do I need this fancy space? Yes, that would be great, but I'm just starting out. So do I really want to stress myself out because I want a fancy space? That was what I was thinking. And then I realized, no, this is great, but it's not for me right now. I have a great, beautiful space right now, and it's inside of a business building, and a lot of lash artists do this. So this was totally okay and the right decision for me. And had I not taken my time and fell for the pressure of the, the leasing agent, hey, this space is going to go fast and that sort of thing. No, if it's meant for you, it'll be there. You just have to be intentional and specific and make sure that you are determining what the wants and needs are for yourself, for your business, whatever the situation is. And I think that will really help weed out a lot of stuff. So I feel very blessed, and I feel like I prepared quite well for this. But again, it took time and a lot of patience.
Yeah, thank you so much for sharing that. One of the things that I want to bring up or like put a plug in is that you mentioned mentor, right? Like you have a mentor, and we cannot like say this enough to people. We even have an episode about mentorship and why is it important? Why should everybody have a mentor? Because of those things that you just mentioned, Pamela.
Yes.
Because you have someone that sees potential in you and that, is someone that is in the field or, in the area of things that you are interested in, and that that person knows so much and has so much knowledge about the area that they will help you and they will mentor you to then for you to be able to then, get into whatever it is you're interested in. So you're a perfect example of how mentorship looks like and how it should look like. So I'm really glad that you brought that up. So thank you for sharing that. And then I'm going to skip this question because I think you pretty much talked a little bit about that, like what your business is and like why it's unique about it. I mean, you're a lash artist, and obviously the uniqueness is that, you do like lashes, and, it's a very unique, it's a different type of business, I want to say, than like a lot of other
businesses. Definitely different than what I was into, for sure. But it's also my business. What I always wanted this to be, because I've always been into this, like brows and lashes and that sort of thing. I want it to feel like when my guests come into my business that they know that I'm paying attention, I'm taking my time with them, and I'm hearing them out on what their needs are. So to me, I'm very passionate about what I do. So I think it comes naturally to want to be so focused on what to give them back. So for what makes my business unique, I feel, is that it's an experience where, you tell me what you want and I'm really truly listening and I'm taking my time. You're not just a number. You're not just coming in, this time is set out specifically for you, and we're going to take our time and I'm going to tell you what I think. We're going to talk about it, and then we'll see where we need to go to get, your brows how you want them to look, and, that sort of thing. So it's just very much fun, and I really enjoy what I do, and I still get to help people. I get to make them feel good and be happy and that sort of thing.
So, since you mentioned all those things with like, how unique it is, like with that, like, how do you define success? Because, for everyone that has a different business or a type of business, like their success is different, right? Like whatever they feel like success is based on what they do, right? Like what type of business they have. But like for you and the type of business you have and the uniqueness of it, like how do you define success?
Success to me, and in the grand scheme of things, is not so much about money or what you have, it's how you feel. So I think with my business, success to me is seeing these women come in and just being happy and liking, oh, you did this for me and I love it. It looks great. Like I didn't think I could do this, or that my brows could look like that, or my lashes, and I feel so pretty and so confident. So just hearing them say how good they feel about themselves makes me feel like I'm a success. Like I'm doing something right. Like what I'm doing is worth it because I'm helping other people build their confidence in some ways, And in the big picture too, I feel like success for me is defined as how happy I feel with my life overall. So I think that if you reach your goals and you go for your dreams, whatever that may be, that's where your success truly lies. It's not so much about how much money you make. It's whatever makes you get up in the morning and want to get out there. That's what success is to me.
I love how you said that of, is being happy with your life. And that's the whole reason why you've taken all these steps and these scary
Yeah.
moves. But with that, I mean, you kind of just said what you enjoy about your business, but is there anything that you do that you enjoy the most about starting your own business?
I think I enjoy the most is the freedom that it gives me. I've always been a person that has wanted to work. Um, like I said, just being Latina, like this is what we do. We got to hustle. We got to get out here and do what we need to do. Um, but I think it just feels so empowering to be able to be my own boss and have my own schedule. And say, okay, I got my kids' school calendar for the year, and this day they are having a field trip or they have a play, so I need to block this day off. And having that liberty to do that is just so worth the risk that, you take as being a business owner.
Yeah, that's awesome. And that's what I was, at the beginning I said like, okay, the steps she took to be her own jefa. Because, I think at the end of the day, when you have a business, is the best thing about it is that you have your own hours and you can work whenever you want to work, based on your priorities, right? So I think that's amazing. And I figure you were gonna say that.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, that's, coming from, like I said, feeling like you're stuck in a hamster wheel to now being able to say, oh, you know what? This is a schedule that works for me because it fits for my family. And, I need to take these days off in these coming months because my kids have something to do instead of having to make up hours and run here and run there. Like that's so satisfying, from that aspect. And the fact that I'm still helping people is also something that I'm happy about and I enjoy because I think that's what I'm called to do is to help others. And that's where I feel my satisfaction. So when I worked in the corporate world, I still did that in my own ways. Whether it was when I worked in customer service or whatnot, I always try to find things that I was actually helping other people. So here I still feel like I'm helping other people. Because it's still helping. I'm helping women, feel good about themselves and be able to come to me and confide in me these things that, they're worried about or, insecurities that they might have from something. Some people have, some sort of scar and I'm trying to help them, be able to not hide it, but enhance it or somehow make it comfortable for them. And so I think still being able to feel that I can help someone in that way and having that liberty of creating my own schedule has really been probably the best thing about being my own boss.
That's great. And so since you've been doing this for a while now, what are you working on now? Did you have any new goals for your business, like moving forward?
Yeah, so I constantly take trainings and classes because I am my own boss. I don't have a boss. I don't work in a big place. So I am in charge. I am totally responsible for staying up to date, making sure that I'm trained properly. So I do take a class once a year. In the beginning, I took a couple more just to get me started, get me going. And I still take mentorships. There's a lot of great resources out there. And again, like you said, it's so important to find a mentor, to not be afraid to reach out to people and let them know what you're thinking. You want to go into this business or you want to know more about that career. Will they be willing to mentor you? Like there's nothing wrong with reaching out and asking. And I think we're afraid of doing that sometimes. But we can't because we're hindering ourselves. So having that mentorship there is great. And so for me, that's what I do. I continuously mentor, I take classes, and I job shadow. Still, I will go to another place, another lash artist, or my mentor specifically, and say, "Hey, I'm struggling with these things. Help me." So she'll set up like a training plan for me, and then we'll go hang out one day with a couple of models, and she'll go over everything. So it's just that continuous learning is so important if you want to be your own boss, and you have to take hold and you have to know that this is part of it. if you're not going to continuously learn, it's going to be a little bit harder for you. But that's one thing that I'm always focused on, is the continuous learning. And I'm not sure how this is going to work out, but because I like to work with other people, and help other people, I try to find ways what I want to do with my business specifically. And again, I'm not 100% sure how I'm going to get to this, because I just started this 7 months ago on my own, but I want to use my business to help give back to the community. So what I mean by that is, I want to help women. There's a lot of resources for women who are looking for work, who are in need of certain services. I remember when I went to Douglas J, they hosted an event for women who were about to return back to the workforce. I think there were some that were homeless women. And so there were a lot of support for them and donations for clothes and things like that to get them to be able to be prepared for job interviews. So they did like workshops with how to practice for interview questions and how to do your makeup and things like that. So I want to donate my services to that sort of, how do I call that? To those projects. I don't know what they're called, but I want to donate my services for that, help with brows and that sort of thing, to use what I have to help other people. And also I want to use my profits to donate to certain charities or right here in the community events and things like that. My son loves basketball. We've always been into basketball. And I know how confident he gets when he gets those cool shoes, to go play. And I know that there's a lot of kids that don't have that ability. So me being able to make a profit and say, you know what, I want to donate shoes to this team that might need it or whatever, just to donate and give back. So that's my next goal, is to figure out how I'm going to get to give back with my own business to the community right here in Grand Rapids. I hope that made sense. You guys know what I'm trying to say?
Yes,
Say that?
yes.
Okay.
I love it. So I knew that a little bit about you. And there was a question up there. I was going to ask, like, hey, Pamela, what makes unique, when Jana asked about what makes your business unique. To me, I was like, I want to have her add that on there, but I knew you weren't done. So that, to me, that's what makes you unique. Because yes, there's so many other lash artists out there, but who is Pamela and why am I going to go to her? And to me, this is what makes you unique. Like the heart that you have, who you are, your personality, because not everyone, when you told me that, I was just amazed.
Thank you.
Wow, you're starting out and you're already thinking of others. Like usually you're like, okay, I have so much money, I don't know what to do with it. And you're like, you still don't have the money and you already know what you want to do with it. And that is huge. Like if anyone out there is listening right now that knows how to help Pamela, like reach, donate to those charities and fund those community ladies that are, getting job interviews, are homeless, like please reach out to Pamela, because that really is inspiring and unique to who she is and her business.
Yeah, I would love to get into that. So I want, that's another goal that I have, is basically networking with people who are directly involved in the community, that I can get with and see, okay, I can help you guys, I can provide this much or something like that. Like once I figure out how my community works, I can truly focus on giving back. But it's so impactful. Like the little things that we can do can make a big difference for at least one person. And so that's what makes me excited about having new goals with this business. And I need to simmer down, because I get really excited, and it's going to take time as well. But that's probably my goal, is with my business, it's not just about me or just lashes, and I think that's going to be like part of my mission statement somewhere. Like it's not just lashes, like this is bigger. Yeah, lashes are great, right? You look great and all that, but what are we doing to give back to others with what we have? So to me, this is a privilege to be able to do this. And I definitely want to use my position to help others, whether that's young girls coming out of school that need a mentor, or giving back to the community by providing my services in these workshops for women, or donating funds, and to the community here and there. So yeah, I think those are my goals for my business specifically.
I love it. Love it. So, almost done here, but this is like a favorite question to me, because I'm going to be all ears for this, is what advice would you give to women who are trying to become an entrepreneur?
My advice would be to go for it. Just, don't think about all the bad things that could happen, but also think about the good things that can happen. If this is truly your dream, set yourself up for it and make sure that you find those resources, and not be afraid to reach out for help and ask those people in the position that you want to be in for help. Don't be afraid of hearing no, and just reach out. So again, reach out to those people that are in these positions, and believe in yourself. Know that you can do it. If they can do it, why can't you do it? We can do this. You can totally do whatever is in your heart. It might take a little longer, but you can get there. And just believing in yourself and knowing every day, I can do this, I can get there. So just basically go for it, and it'll come. But you have to have patience, and you have to have that believe in yourself, to know that this is possible. Like, they can do it, why can't I? We have to be strong and believe in ourselves a little more.
And also, you have to have preparation. So you have to prepare for it, because you did a lot
Yes.
of that as well. So, we don't want to just say like, yeah, obviously we want them to be confident and believe in themselves, but also make sure that they're looking for the resources and they're actually making, doing their homework and preparing themselves, because that seems like it's huge when you want to open up your own business. And you ran through all of that with us.
Yeah, so definitely, go for it, but prepare. Make sure you prepare, you have a plan, and know that it's going to take time. There's a lot of trial and error. Don't expect to happen overnight. And even today, 7 months in, I'm still growing my business. It's not like it's booming and it's great. Like, it's a growing process. It's going good because I'm working on it, because I spend time in it, and I love what I do, but it takes time. So definitely go for it. And when you do say, I'm going to do this, make sure that you're ready to put in the work and to know that it's going to take time.
Awesome. So, Pamela, we are to the end of our interview, which is great. But before, we let you go and we do our closing, the one thing we want to ask you, though, is that for those who live in the Grand Rapids area, locally here in Michigan, how and where can we book your services? Because we want to make sure, girls do book your service if they live here.
Yes, of course. Okay, so you guys can reach me on Instagram. My handle is Bella Beauty Bar GR, and my website is also bellabeautybargr.com.
Cool. And then you can book your services online, or reach out to Pamela, and I'm pretty sure she's gonna get you in.
Yeah, for sure. And if you have questions, you can always shoot me a DM. I'm happy to help.
Thank you so much, Pamela. So I just want to give, you guys know me, I love giving a little summary. And this is everything that like stayed in my heart. And it was like, Pamela one day woke up and said, I can't do this anymore. So ladies, like, this takes courage. I was just saying, like, this takes courage. Like, I still don't see myself doing that. But it's like she said, it's a scary move. But the thing is that she started noticing how it affected her mental health. So for you ladies out there listening right now, if you've been thinking you need a lifestyle change, we are sure that you have been inspired to take that leap of faith, as Pamela has done. And like she said, then just have that patience with the process to ensure that you don't trigger those stress factors from which you left the corporate life for. Like Pamela said, be specific, intentional, strategic, confident, and realistic in the process. Also remember to find those people to encourage you with the best interest. And adding on, this was something that I'm sure many of us could relate to, is that this was a dream that seemed far for Pamela, and it became a reality sooner than expected. And look at this now, how she is defining success. Success for Pamela is making other women feel confident in some way. And she's doing that, doing your lashes, your eyebrows. I know she's done that for me, ladies. And overall, like, another thing that success is for her is just being how happy she is with life overall. Like, not many of us have that privilege to say that. So we were all able to listen to the huge heart that Pamela has. So make sure that you go out there if you're in the Grand Rapids area and book a service with her. Remember, her website is bellabeautybargr.com. So hasta la próxima, mujeres. And thank you, Pamela, so much for your time.
You're
Besos.
welcome.